Hi, you've made it to Friday. I've been live 3 times this week and it's just been so much fun. You've seen me all over the place. I'm sure you're sick of seeing my face, but today I am so excited because we're hanging out with Pirita. She is coming from Australia, so I think it's actually her Saturday morning. Um, she is a cycle coach, and so she works with people one on one to sync their cycles, work on hormone balances, educate you on your cycle. So, men and women, this is okay to watch because I feel like this is the type of education we all needed growing up, but we didn't have. And so empowering women to understand their cycle, how to work within that cycle, and then also the different stages of the month. So there's certain periods of the month that were more productive. There's certain periods that were more in tune with deep conversations. There's a week where I think it's all about like getting projects and organization and things done. And so she is a pro on this, and I'm excited because we're just going to do kind of like a look into what her cycle coaching looks like, cycle syncing, coaching, all of that. I definitely want you guys to ask any questions that you have. This is the type of stuff that we need to focus on. And so you're like, yeah, there's productivity hacks. There's ways to make 7, 8 figures in your business, but are you actually spending the time looking at your body and your health and the stressors around that? And yeah, so she's just going to have so much to share with us. And I am just like pulling up my questions here because I know I have a ton for her. And this is the type of stuff that is just so, so major. So I'm going to pull her up here. Here we go. In the meantime, while I pull her up on the live, what are your guys' questions surrounding cycles and your hormones? This can be a men and women conversation. Men have hormones too. I was laughing with someone this week on Clubhouse, and we were just talking about like all of our juju stuff. And yeah, men have just as many hormones as women. It's just as important. Although the specific cycle syncing topic is definitely more catered towards women. But yes, if you have questions, please ask them. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited. Here we go. Hi.
Hello.
How
Thank
are
you so much for
you?
having me.
Thank you
I'm
for
good. How are you?
joining. So good. I'm literally in my son's bedroom on the floor because we've got everyone else taking up all the rooms of the house. So I'm like, yeah, we're gonna make this happen. You see he's like dirty clothes in the back. That's full mom mode right there.
Oh, that's so funny. We always have a similar situation going on when I'm doing like lives or filming classes or whatever I'm doing. It's always like, hey, in which room can I be, and in which room are you going to lock yourselves in for the duration of the
Yes.
time?
Yes. And also, like, where's the best lighting? Like, I'm in front of a screen door right now, but it's still pretty dark. But hey, this is Friday. Let's ease into the weekend. Let's talk about our bodies and our hormones and balance ourselves out. I'm so excited. Can you give a little bit of a bio of what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it's actually already Saturday morning here, so I'm based in
Ah,
Australia,
that's
in
right.
Brisbane. Yeah,
Ah,
so we are easing into the weekend here. So my name is Pirita. I'm originally from Finland. I've lived in Australia for 3 years. I am a yoga teacher and a menstrual cycle coach. So I combine those two. So yoga from the more holistic point of view, the philosophy and the body-mind connection, and then menstrual cycle awareness. So the different phases of our cycles, our hormones, and all the things that affect our mood, our energy levels, everything every single day of our cycle, not just during period, but throughout the whole cycle.
yeah, I love that. That's amazing. So, can I ask you how you got into this specific area of expertise? And then I would love to dive into some specific um, talking points surrounding our cycles and balancing those. But yeah, how did you get into this space?
Yeah, of course. So it all started through my basically yoga teacher training when we were discussing the Chinese five element theory. And Chinese five element theory has five elements, and they're all associated with five different seasons of the year. Late summer is the fifth one. You might be wondering why are there five, where there are basically
Yeah,
four
I was
seasons
actually
a year.
yes, I was wondering that.
Yeah, so those different elements have different qualities to them. So there's winter, for example, and that's more of the time of being introverted and grounded, more so staying inside and doing things from basically your heart and just really connecting with yourself. And then we have the other seasons, for example, summer would be more of the opposite to the winter, where we're more extroverted and have more energy and just want to get things done. And then I started to think about, like, wait a minute, we also have these phases in our menstrual cycle from the hormonal perspective. So we have follicular phase and we have luteal phase. So when we think about the cycle, we can also see it from the energetic point of view. And then through that, I just started to dive deeper into that and just learn so much every single day. And then I just started to share with my audience, and through that, my audience has been the one that's basically been guiding me, because they would have more and more questions about different things. For example, can we dive deeper into the hormones? I want to understand my body better, and that's
Yeah.
been driving me ever since.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool because to be honest with you, my knowledge and my understanding of my cycle actually just like amped up, I would say in the last 6 years. So not, I'm 30. Like, what the heck, you know? Isn't this stuff we should have been learning when we began our cycle and then like optimizing it? So it just blows my mind that literally 50% of the population has a cycle and the amount of knowledge on it is minimal. So when I can connect with hormonal like cycle coaches like you that are well versed in this space, it's just so meaningful because it's like I think once you can, and you can talk to this, but once you get this understanding and this knowledge going, you can just, I don't know, amplify and energize your days, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And because it affects you so much, and so many women go through their lives experiencing all these different issues and they're all related to the same thing. So our endocrine system, so how our hormones work and our whole body is
Mhm.
designed. And we all
Mhm.
go through the cycle, and we might experience issues such as low energy, being in this raging mood for 1 week of the month, and then losing our energy completely. And lots of
Mhm.
women come to me saying that they only feel like themselves 1 week of their cycle, and I know
Mhm.
that they're not alone. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's like a whole world of that, and we have so much suffering, and we just don't necessarily have the knowledge to overcome that. So yeah, it's a really beautiful field.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so can you take us through and you can lead us how you want. You're the expert here, but obviously you guys, if you have questions, add it. But if someone were to, and if this is what you want to do, but if someone were to come to you to work with you and you had a one-on-one, can you treat this like that and take us through just that like beginning stage of what we should be knowing about our cycles, or you can pivot because I know you're working on a bunch of stuff in your business, so what's really relevant for you right now that you want to share?
Yeah, it all depends on the things that basically trigger the person to come to me when they realize that, oh, okay, like the issue that I've been experiencing my whole life, or the low energy that I've had, that maybe that's something that I can work with, and then eventually have more energy or overcome that issue. So it all depends on that person. But let's say that someone comes to me and says that, for example, excuse me, um,
It's Friday, Saturday, it's your weekend.
I've had a terrible cough during January, so I'm losing my voice here.
That's
But
fine.
anyway,
We can like pause for water. This is so casual, whatever you need.
let's do that. And that's
Okay,
part of
good. Let's
cycle
pause.
awareness, being aware of your cycle. And I have my water bottle here. I always carry
Good.
my
I was
water.
gonna say, everyone, grab your water. I'm
Hmm.
like gonna move my laptop to a more easily position. I'm on the floor, like I said. This is unscripted. Okay, keep going. You got this.
Yeah, so let's say that someone comes to me and says that they experience awful PMS, and
Yes.
they say that they feel good when their period ends, and they feel really good for a week or two, and then they start to feel their energy levels coming down, and then they're in this raging mood for a week, and then their period comes, and they have this low energy during their period, so they only have that short window in their cycle when they feel like themselves.
Yeah.
So what we would start with would be talking about their lifestyle. So one of the biggest things, hello Amy, one of the biggest things that is the root cause behind all of our hormonal imbalances is the stress that we experience, and not
Oof.
only the psychological stress like our super busy lives or being an overachiever. Hello. So,
I
but
mean,
also,
seriously.
but
I'm just agreeing with you. Keep going.
but also, our diets, for example, skipping meals or forgetting to eat, or having sugary meals and always having our blood sugars spike, things like that, all the toxins in the environment. So just starting kind of like with the deep dive into the lifestyle and understanding
Mhm.
what's going on there. And it depends on the level of support that person needs. If they are hoping to kind of like do a really big deep dive and work with me for a longer period of time, or if it's just kind of like a once-off thing where we look into their lifestyle and then just identify like one area in their
Mhm.
life at a time that we can start working with. If you work with me, that one area will most likely first be your stress, because
Oof.
that's where specifically the body-mind connection and you know my background in yoga comes in handy.
Wow. Okay, so let's dive into that because you do a lot of stuff to sync your cycle, and then I know you've been working on syncing your cycle with your goals. And so a lot of my followers are female entrepreneurs, founders, CEOs, and they've been running their business most likely for a while. So they are feeling the stress, they're feeling the rundown, they're feeling low energy. And then also they're saying what you just mentioned, 1 week of the month they feel that they're most themselves, and then the other ones they have these other issues. And so for me, there's a week of the month where I'm like organizing, I'm like cleaning, I'm doing deep cleaning, I'm like just wanting to almost like nest. And then there's a week where I feel extremely social and I'm planning all of these social engagements, and I'm totally like vocal and verbal in my friend groups, and I'm like just there socially. Then there's another week where I'm like super introverted, and I also just don't feel any just like drive or productivity or inspiration. I'm like scraping at the barrel. Okay. So knowing that, and you can talk to us about that, like what those weeks are, I think that would be so huge for all of us to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. And because I can so much relate to that. And even with all this knowledge, it's still sometimes a struggle because we can be so hard on ourselves and always
Yes.
expect ourselves to, do more and be more and achieve more. So it can be really hard. But let's start with the period week. So your
Hmm.
menstruation phase, and that's where your hormones are at their lowest. So
Yeah.
it's natural to feel like you want to turn inward. It's natural to do that nesting that you mentioned and not
Yeah.
necessarily feel all that drive. But
Mm.
again, because we might have so much stress in other areas or other parts of our cycle, so that we might actually have even a bigger drop in the energy levels than what our bodies might naturally have. So there's something
Wow.
that we can work with as well. And then we move into
I love
Amy's
that.
comment.
Keep adding your comments. Yes.
Yeah.
Pirita, how is your cell data? Can you turn off your Wi-Fi and just be on cell data so we can see a clear picture of you?
Ah, you can't see me clearly because I can see myself
I
crystal.
know it's a little and it could be my internet too. But just see if you go on LTE. All of you that continue to watch my lives are sick of hearing me say that, but I feel like it does help. I hope so, and it could just be my end. Okay, keep going. You got this.
Can you see me okay?
I can, and it might be on my internet. So if you guys can see her clearly, add in the comments so we know. But yeah, keep going.
Okay. Usually the Wi-Fi works perfectly, so hopefully this is okay.
Yeah, it's
Um,
probably me.
okay. I'll probably just actually turn on the Wi-Fi again because I know that it works better.
Better than the, okay, awesome. Perfect. Perfect, perfect.
Yeah. Ah. Thank you, Amy, for a comment. And yeah, so we move
Yes.
on to the follicular phase. So that's most likely the phase where, you know, when women say that they feel like themselves for that 1 week of the month, that's most likely in the follicular phase because that's when our estrogen levels start to go up. And estrogen is a beautiful hormone that we want for that extra energy. And it also helps our bodies to produce more dopamine and serotonin, so these feel good hormones, so that we feel more goal oriented,
Mm.
we feel happier, we feel more confident. So that's, you know, when we want to plant those seeds, and we probably want to be more social. And for example, this week for me was my follicular week, and I had a fantastic week. I
Okay.
still feel so energetic, which is awesome, and we
Oh,
really want to take advantage of that, you know.
yes, yes,
But
yes.
also recognizing that, you know, you don't have to schedule everything into that week because otherwise it will just become such a busy week that you can't even enjoy the, you know, the feel good hormones and feeling good and enjoying what you do.
Yeah, I
um,
love it.
yeah. And then we move on to the ovulation phase. So after your follicular phase, when you're ovulating, and you might experience peak in energy in that phase, so feeling even extra motivated, you get your testosterone spike, you might feel even more attractive, more confident, more goal oriented. Some women experience this as kind of like a drop in energy. So I think it's all comes down to how you're experiencing that. And I think cycle journaling and, you know, tracking your cycle and your energy levels and, you know, everything that goes with it, and just recognizing the patterns in your own cycle helps so much.
Mm.
After
Wow.
ovulation starts your luteal phase, and your luteal phase lasts from your ovulation until your period starts. Um, in your luteal phase, a hormone called progesterone is the dominant hormone. And the interesting thing about progesterone is that it's precursor to cortisol. So if you are experiencing a lot of stress, no matter where that stress comes from, your body will prioritize producing cortisol, so stress hormone,
Mm-hmm.
opposed to progesterone. And progesterone is that nice calming hormone. I call that hot cacao on a rainy day because you want that hormone. It's kind of like helps you to feel good about yourself. It helps you to cope with stress better. It helps protects you against PMS, for example. And it
Mm.
has other beautiful benefits. For example, it helps you to build muscle more easily. So you want to hit the gym in your luteal phase, but stay away from cardio workouts, for example. But the luteal phase can be that phase where you don't feel that great, and that is most likely because there are maybe a little bit too many things going on in your life, or too hard on
Mm.
yourself, or you're skipping the meals and creating stress on your body
Mm.
mind.
Can you talk to quickly and remind me because I know this, but as a busy entrepreneur and a mom and just like a person in general, I'm skipping meals and I don't try to. It's just that like the day it's past me and then all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock and I'm like, oh my God, I need to eat something. So I grab a better for you, like clean protein bar or something like Go Macro I like or RX bar, whatever. But can you tell me how detrimental that is to my cycle when I'm finding myself in the workday skipping meals? Because I think this is something we all can relate to.
Yeah, so basically, one of the most important organs when it comes to eliminating toxins from your body, or when it comes to eliminating eliminating excess estrogen from your body, is
Yeah.
liver. And when you're skipping your meals, your liver is the organ that helps your hormones to produce more energy, basically, so that if
Yeah.
you're skipping your meal and you haven't eaten for, let's say, 3 to 4 hours, you're starting to feel your blood sugar levels going down, but your liver will basically help your body to bring the blood sugar storages back into your bloodstream, so that you
Okay.
have energy to keep on going, so that you just don't collapse, in the middle of the day. That's your
Yeah.
survival mechanism in your body. But because your liver will be so busy helping your body bring that blood sugar storage back into your bloodstream and not where it belongs in the storage, it means that your liver won't be able to work in eliminating toxins from your body or eliminating estrogen.
Wow. And the reason we want estrogen to be eliminated and our liver to be doing that process is because, like, can you talk about the effects on um, too much estrogen in your body? Because
Yeah,
Heard of this, but I think this is something that is not talked about often. And probably in your circle it is, but in my circle it's not.
yeah. Well, in my circle, just a couple of years ago, it wasn't either. So that's really
Wow.
good. Um, so with estrogen, if you have an excess amount of estrogen, it can lead to basically imbalance between estrogen and progesterone. And as I mentioned, progesterone was that lovely hormone in luteal phase that you want more of. But if
Hmm.
you have, or basically there's estrogen dominance, and there's two ways how your body can basically go into estrogen dominance stage, and that's if you have too much estrogen compared to progesterone, or if your estrogen levels are just super high. And estrogen dominance can manifest as, for example, heavy periods, painful
Mm.
periods, premenstrual migraines, PMS, all those issues that
Mm.
probably almost everyone who's watching is familiar with or has faced
Yes.
during their
Yes.
cycle.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm gonna have to make a ton of notes after this. But okay, so we've talked about the phases of our cycle. We've talked about the detriments of having too much estrogen and also too little progesterone. What are some other key things that we should be thinking about in relation to our cycle? And that sounded way too professional of a question. Sorry. I'm like full, let's casual this down a little, but yes, still same question.
Yeah, so basically just supporting your body and your mind so that it can work with your cycle rather than against your cycle. So basically creating a lifestyle around your cycle so that your body can produce an optimal amount of hormones.
Mhm.
Your hormone production starts in your brain, and if, for example, you're experiencing lots of stress, again, your brain will prioritize keeping you safe, because that's what our ancestors had to do when they were running away from lions, for example. We don't have to anymore, but our brain doesn't know the difference between a dead lion and a lion, for example.
Wow,
um,
yeah.
Another thing is, the diet, eating nourishing meals every 3 to 4 hours, eating as the first thing in the morning so that you get your metabolism and your digestion going again. Avoiding, especially because your followers, as you said, are female founders, CEOs, very ambitious, always working hard, probably overachievers. So
Yes.
in that sense, we also need to, recognize that mental stress is a stress in the same way as physical stress. So, for example, if
Mm.
we are working super hard, for example, launching a new product or something like that, which requires a lot of, mental capacity, a lot of thought work and things like that, we probably want to skip the more strenuous workouts and then just
Mm.
stick to something more soothing and something that just helps us to, release anything that we need to release, to come back from our heads into our body so that we can get a break in our brain, basically. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so there's so many things that we can do, and in our work as well, we can sync our work so that, for example, in the follicular week, when you said that you're trying to schedule most of your social, gatherings and stuff like that for your follicular or your ovulation phase, in the same way in our businesses, we can schedule things like this, for example, interviews for
Yes.
the more extroverted weeks, and then, try to take a little bit easier in the luteal and menstruation phases. And I always recommend just resting on your period, especially the first 1 or 2 days. But if you're working, 9 to 5, or it's just not an option for you to rest, and even I still do these mistakes where I schedule something, I'm like, yeah, sounds good, and I'm like, oh, hell, like, no, I'm in my period on that day, but oh
I
well.
know.
If
Yes.
that happens, just do a yoga nidra during the day, or some yin yoga, restorative yoga, just some flowing movement, kind of like dancing, just moving, or just sleeping, take a nap. That's okay too. Just something that helps you to rest.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're like we all needed to hear this, especially ending on a work week. I 1 second. I need to text my babysitter.
That's
Oh, I might
okay.
have to jump off. But 1 sec. But gosh, this is just so good. Okay, so first, before just in case I do have to jump off, um, we are going to do a giveaway, you and I. And so this is something I'll be posting on my feed, and we'll leave it open for like a couple of days or maybe up to a week. But both you and I have been talking since I think it was last summer about bringing this value that you have to a broader audience. And so you're giving away, can you talk about quickly the one-on-one?
Yep. So I am giving away a 45-minute one-on-one session where we do that deeper dive into your cycle, and especially if you're experiencing any issues, or, for example, fatigue, any period-related issues, PMS, things like that. Or if you just want to, cycle sync your work, cycle sync your workouts, whatever it is, we can take a
Yes.
look into that and create a kind of like a step-by-step plan that you can start implementing straight away after that session.
That's amazing. And you guys, if you go to her feed and her website, um, the stuff I've learned just following her, it's just been incredible. And I think it's just so key for us to take care of our bodies as well as our businesses and our families, but our bodies first. And so, in addition to that, I'm going to give you guys a brainstorm session for free. So we'll talk all about your content, how to be consistent, what to post, how to post it, and all of that. So you're going to take care of your body as well as your business. And I'll post all that on my feed, but gosh, this has been so incredible. So as we're closing up and as I'm like figuring out, I think I got like 5 or so more minutes. What other things do you want to tell us that we should be focusing on in our bodies? And I know I have a ton of questions, and I know that those of you watching do, so you can definitely ask if you have those.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And by the way, like, I'm not even a mom, and I still struggle to manage my own schedule and everything. So I'm always just so mind blown how, for example, you're running your own business, you're doing these lives, you have kids, and I'm like, how do you even do that? I think that's super human stuff.
Dry shampoo, lots of dry shampoo in there. No.
Oh, that's so funny. But what else we can focus on with our bodies? I think just focusing on feeling good,
Okay, yeah.
because just I think that's just so ignored. We prioritize so many other things, like making other people feel good, um, looking good in other people's eyes, achieving
Mm,
things, thinking about our work, yada yada yada, thinking about how we should look instead of how we want to feel inside. And
wow.
you want to, embody that, that you actually feel good. You want to embody that joy,
Hmm.
embody your menstrual cycle in the different phases, and actually live in tune with them, so that you can bring those beautiful hormones and the balance into your life and your
Hmm.
work. So
Mm.
embodiment.
That's so good. So, yes, hello. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. So I'm just thinking about my own journey and as you're launching all of these products and as you're meeting with your clients, what is something that um maybe it's like a thought or something that keeps you going. I was on a live today and they asked me this and I loved it. Like, okay, what keeps me going? Because there are a lot of hard days as an entrepreneur. Um, and I love hearing maybe those tips or resources or practices, practical things you do just to make through the day and make it a great week in general.
Yeah, well, I think that's a really good and actually timely question because I just took a really long time off, almost 2 months, because I was not feeling that great and I had been pushing myself too much in the last
Yes.
year. Um,
Yes.
but I would say that things that I'm now starting to notice that are actually making a huge difference, especially how I've been feeling for the last couple of weeks, are
Yeah.
consistent morning routine. So I know it's
Ooh.
going to be difficult if, for example, you have kids and everything, but just trying to, put time into yourself before you put time into your work and others.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
whatever that looks like for you, for me, it currently looks like kind of like a power hour where I take an hour or two for movement, meditation, journaling, and affirmations, and just really,
Mm.
doing that embodiment work and being with myself, having that peaceful morning before that busy day.
Yeah.
So that's a really important thing. And then just recognizing that you can only do so much. We always think
Mm.
that, we have to do this and we have to launch this and we have to, be on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and everywhere. And, because that person is doing that and that person has a perfect podcast and a perfect blog and yada, yada, yada. They most likely have a team behind them. Or they've been there for so many years. So just remembering that, you can't compare yourself to anyone else. You're on your own journey and you just need to honor your own body and the amount of energy that you have.
I love that you said that. Um, Someone too, while you were talking about that, someone, a friend of mine explained she has these low energies and I'm getting texts. I'm just looking. Is Harvey okay? My son is okay. People are watching him. Okay, good. Um, just like she is aware of her energy levels in a very real way where she won't schedule things. And she will actually say, I'm having a day and if you're comfortable with it, let's move our blank, like our meeting or our hang to next week when I can give you more of my time and energy. And she's very in tune with that. And I've always respected that. Although for me, I'm like a go. Like even if I've like literally I had COVID in October and I was still on meetings, I was doing lives, I was doing sales calls, I was creating content, and I'm like, hold on. This is not okay. I should not be doing that. So thinking back to what you just said and thinking about, how she in tune she is with her energy levels, it's just a great reminder for me of, yes, I don't have to do it all and I don't have to be it all for everyone around me. And slowing down. And I love that you just took 2 months off. I'm like, hold on, how do I do that in my business? You guys, I'm gonna go. Bye-bye. Like I'm taking the next 2 months off. No, but I think it's so key. And I'm gonna start thinking about that because I think we're in business to create our day and our week how we want. We could all go corporate, but we decided not to for specific reasons. And I think a lot of it was like flexibility in our days and our weeks. So if I'm not taking the time to do my morning practices and take the time to take breaths, deep breaths, eat lunch, I should be reevaluating my schedule and my day and see if it's actually worth it. So I'm having like a moment right now. I hope you guys are that are watching, but this is just so helpful. This was the best reminder and a good Friday, a good February thing. I know it's Saturday for you, but gosh, this was good.
Yeah, and it's always so good to hear it from someone else because obviously we try to remind ourselves about that, but when you hear it from someone else, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that actually makes sense. I don't have to do it all. I don't have to be it all.
No.
I can just have some
Hmm.
grace and compassion towards myself. So yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, definitely agree.
This was awesome. So to close out, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll post all the information of the giveaway for you that are watching. Even if you've seen this post live and you're not watching this live, I will have that in there with the date that the giveaway closes. But yes, we'll watch for anything that you're launching and we'll go to your site. But is there anything else that you're working on we should be aware of?
Right now, I am working on in my membership, where I have my beautiful members practicing cycle conscious yoga and all the other things, our monthly cycle awareness workshops, and then my one-on-one offerings. So yeah, it's going to be a beautiful
Awesome.
year. My membership is going to transform this year, and I'm so excited for it.
Yay. Oh my gosh, I'm excited. Okay, I'll be sure to post all of your stuff on the caption. But thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely chatting with you.
Yes, it was. Okay, bye you guys. Thanks for joining in. See you. Have a good
Bye.
weekend. Bye.